Hey, Inebri-Arites, welcome back to the Inebri-Art podcast. This is Andy. And before we get too far into the podcast, I'm just here to talk about our sponsor this month, which is Figurosity.com. It is a figure drawing website where you can go and use 3D generated models of all shapes and sizes, genders and job types, and there's a wide variety to choose from. You can turn and manipulate the model in order to get a better view of the image that you want to draw. And it's a pretty inexpensive website to sign up for. There's a free side, but the pay side, there's a lot more options. You can change the lighting effects and do a lot more with it. And they've given us a coupon code, so you can use ArtWeek2 for the coupon code, and that'll give you $5 off, which equates to about 1 month free. A little more if you sign up for the entire year. And so big shout out to the guys at Figurosity.com. They make a great product. We've had people actually use the website during breaks at our monthly life drawing, and everyone seems to really enjoy it. So check it out, Figurosity.com, coupon code ARTWEEK2. And so with that being said, we're going to jump into this week's episode, which is a compilation of a few short interviews that we did a few weeks back at Beverly Comic Con. BevCon's been running for about 5 years now and is put on by the guys at Triptych Press, Adam Miller, and Inebri-Art's very own John Monster Cardinal. So this again was another big hit for them. Another big hit for them. And it's 3 floors at Portermills Studio. They had all sorts of comic creators and artists and some vendors. There was pizza, there was donuts. And we were there recording, so we got a few interviews, and these were kind of the shorter ones, so we're going to put together them all in a compilation episode, BevCon 5. So check out the Facebook page for Beverly Comic Con. You can see images from what happened, and listen here to the interviews, and you can hear what people had to say. All right, welcome back, Inebri-Arites. This is Andy, the Inebri-Art podcast, and I am here with JP and Amanda, who are both students at Montserrat, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So a freshman and a sophomore. So just so our audience knows, JP is what year are you in?
Oh, I'm a freshman.
You're a freshman. So Amanda, you are
a sophomore. Yes.
And if it's the same when I went there, when you're a freshman, you don't pick a major, right?
Correct. That's undeclared.
Yep, you wait till sophomore year.
Yeah. And so what is your...
I'm in illustration.
In illustration?
I'm an author illustrator.
And what is your goal? Like, where do you want to head after Montserrat?
Well, I have one published children's book currently.
Oh, no kidding. What's it called?
It's called Can I See? With a question mark at the end of it.
Okay.
And it's about visual impairment, since I'm visually impaired. Mm-hmm. And I published that my last year of high school, actually. Self-published that.
Oh,
so
nice.
My original goal was to get published. I got that. Now my goal is more...
Like already buried the lead. It's like you're done.
Yeah, no, but...
Now that you're retired.
But my goal now is more about getting my work out there, getting my name out there, and getting to the point where I don't have to be working 9 to 5. I'd rather be doing my art and doing more advocacy stuff instead.
That's 9 to 5. It's just
what
you want to do. Right, yeah.
It's more like 9 to 5 a.m.
Right, yeah.
Than 9 to 5
your 9
p.m.
to 5.
Yeah.
And what about you, JP?
I'm just kind of here. I did photography my junior year in high school and really liked it. So I did skate park photography and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I figured, something I like, go to school for it. And now I'm experimenting with graphic design. Yep. Something I definitely want to try and see where I can go.
So, where you have a photography background, how are you dealing with the challenges of having to take all the other classes?
Well, I mean, I always liked drawing and stuff as a kid. And,
Yeah.
You know, did little stuff here and there, so it's not bad. It's just interesting seeing the perspective and just how diverse it is. Like, oh, it's not just drawing and painting. There's so much stuff there.
Right,
And
yeah.
so much to learn from each one of them. You know, I'm a photographer. You can learn something from each subject. So that's very interesting, and it's a good experience.
Yeah, I remember the 1 year I was here. You'd see some people's drawings after the figure drawing class, and you'd be like, I don't want to judge. That's pretty terrible. And then you find out they're here to do photography, but that first year they kind of have that. You have to take everything, which is great. I think people really benefit from challenges and trying new things.
Like with graphic design, I didn't even know I would even be interested in that, and I took a class because someone suggested it, and I found it really beneficial, and I actually like doing that kind of art. I actually, in my free time, do these really stupidly obsessive patterns that are like dots, half a millimeter, filling a whole like 8.5 by 11 page, and trying to like integrate that with graphic design is really interesting. So.
In graphic design is one of those things that you can tell a parent, like, oh, I'm taking graphic design classes, and they're like, oh, good, you won't starve.
Exactly, yeah. There's always
which is
and then
always,
there's me.
Well, it's always one of those not true things, but like from a parent side,
right?
They,
You tell them you're going to be a photographer, and they're like, oh, so
you're going to do weddings?
So you're going to do weddings.
I say that all the time.
Yeah. You do weddings and senior pictures.
Oh, I have my iPhone camera, and I do pictures like that. Or like if you say illustration, people are like, oh, cool, so I draw pictures too. Or my daughter draws pictures, and here's the pictures of that. And I love seeing people's stuff. But they equate them and think that drawing means they're an illustrator and not just an artist in general.
I think it's important to encourage everyone to do something creative. So,
Yes.
like, if you want to take photos with your iPhone, that's awesome.
Yes.
If it then pushes you to get a camera and try more, that's even better. The ones that I love, like, oh, you can draw, you should do tattoos. And like
Every single time.
I don't have tattoos. I'm not. They're cool. I can appreciate them.
The amount of people who have asked me for a tattoo design as a children's book illustrator surprises me. Because I'm drawing like a picture of a cutesy little like fairy girl, and someone walks up and goes, ooh, I want a tattoo of like a skull. I'm like, you want a skull drawn by a children's book author.
The thing that kills me is like, I could draw a picture for you that I would have to charge you for, and then you're going to pay the tattoo guy, so you're doubling the price of your tattoo. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. Go to a tattoo guy. They're extremely skilled people. They can draw for you. Yeah. And
that's what they're there for.
Yeah, that's their job.
That's why they're a tattoo artist.
I'm not a tattoo artist because
they go to school for that.
And and it's not anyone's fault. It's just that kind of framework that they've existed in, where artists are either starving, make tattoos, or are a graphic designer. And in this day and age, it's so that world is so expanded with self-publishing and online communities, and it's so much easier to get your artwork out there now. I'm assuming you both have like Tumblrs or Instagrams.
I have quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
where can people find you?
So I have a website. I have it's all under Amanda McCoy Art as one word.
Yeah.
And I've got a Facebook. I've got an Instagram, which is where I post the most. I've got a Tumblr where I mostly just post inspiration that I can fall back on.
Yeah.
I've got a website, I've got a mailing list. Like, I'm going all out because I'm just like, I need to do this now before I get out into the world and have no food.
It's one of those things that is almost like a class that's missing from art schools is marketing. Like how to market yourself, how to gain exposure.
And that's where podcasts come in.
Yeah.
That's what they're here for.
That's part of what we do.
Yep.
But yeah, there's so many facets to it, and being approachable. And so JP, where is your art online?
I actually don't really have art online.
We're working on it.
I'm new to...
You don't have like a social media, anything?
I have Facebook, and that's just kind of...
like a personal page.
I had a slide phone since freshman year of high school. It's only been like a couple months since I had a smartphone.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're like a 40-year-old man.
I really am. Like, the way I act and the way I just like approach things, I'm a 4-year-old man and a 12-year-old boy at the same time.
Yeah.
That's extremely accurate.
But I'm working on it. We're in Insta and do some photography stuff on there, maybe some graphic design stuff.
I'm going to help her get us an Instagram set up probably this week.
Yeah, I feel like for photography, like Instagram and Tumblr tend to be like the place.
I do want to do more stuff. I am a musician, like first and foremost.
Oh, really? What do you play?
Guitar. I played trumpet for 10 years since elementary school, and I loved band, but not the instrument.
Yeah.
I hated, like, I loved marching band. I did jazz band, marching band. I did all that.
You're in company of band geeks, so I used to play in the band, and my son over there plays saxophone.
That is such a mood. I used to play piano and then carpal tunnel.
Yeah, that'll run you pretty quick. You know, I actually saw a YouTube video of a guy who, I can't remember what school he went to, but he was a piano player, got carpal tunnel, had to give it up. Like, he was a concert pianist, and then went to magic. And I'm like, I don't feel like that would be better, but
well, I gave up piano to become an illustrator, which is just as hard on your wrist. So I don't really know how that happened. I spend all day typing.
Yeah, but I think it's a
drawing.
different repetitive motion.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
So you get a few more years before you blow out your elbow in a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good way to look at it. So what has been the reception for your book that? And I mean, you said you put it out when you were still in high school.
Yeah. So. It's not, because I put it out a few years ago before I even got to school, it's not the most professional thing. Yeah. I truly do believe that it is, it has meaning, and it is something that a lot of people need to see because it's about visual impairments and it has good information, and I made sure it was, even if it's not 110% beautiful professional artwork, it is clear and concise and has a lot of good information. So that was the goal at the time, and at the time a lot of people who did read it were very impressed by the information, and because of the artwork being a little bit lacking, not as much about that, and didn't go too far.
But it's always something you can go back and update the illustrations for, and then
I'm thinking
put out
about
a second
that,
version of it.
I'm currently working on a sequel, which is going to be a middle grade novel, because the first one was a picture book.
Yeah. Do you get confused looks when you tell people you're visually impaired and an illustrator?
Oh, yes. I've had people who are professionals look me in the eye and go, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" And I'm like, "No, not really.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I'm here and I'm doing it because I want to do it. And if it doesn't work, then that's a lot of money that I'm wasting, but hey, I wanted to try it."
Yeah. And it's one of those things where visually impaired doesn't mean that you're completely blind. I'm assuming you can see somewhat.
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of range is that? Like, do people have? Is it? I mean, I'm asking the guy who's always worn glasses, so technically I'm visually impaired. But like, where's the cutoff? Like, where is it that that you classify something as visually impaired?
So the way the numbers work in the United States is, have you heard of 20/20 vision? I'm sure. It's very similar. It's part of that. 20/20 vision is perfect vision. If a normal person can see something from 20 feet away, you can also see something from 20 feet away. Read something. My vision is 2180, which means if a normal person's standing 180 feet away and can read it, I have to be 20 feet away. Yeah. It's a very weird system. I don't understand why they did it that way.
That's very confusing. Yeah.
People are weird, but...
And then there's the normal person. It's like,
and it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Who decided that was normal?
Right.
So there's like normal vision, like average vision, or a little bit worse, where it's like you might need reading glasses or something. Yeah. And then there's low vision, which falls as like they're not quite visually impaired or legally blind. Yeah. Visually impaired is 2170 to 2200, and then legally blind is 2200 and worse. And then like there's people who can't classify the numbers because they don't see enough to read anything.
Yeah.
And those people are considered profoundly blind or blind with no or limited vision, and it's a very complicated system.
It's a very
Sometimes I just scare people by just being like, they ask what's wrong with me, and I just turn to them and go, oh, bilateral congenital optic nerve hypoplasia.
And then they must go, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I totally know what that is.
And then I'll walk up and it's like, she can't see well. It's fine. I'm the seeing eye dog here.
I just like to scare people, honestly. I just like seeing their faces, like, look a little bit scared, and I'm like, no, don't worry, it's fine. It just means I can't see.
Yeah. But I feel like most people's perception of that is if you're visually impaired, you can't see at all.
Right, yeah.
Which just is not true.
Correct. Yeah, it's a weird balance because even professionals in, like, the medical field are very confused by my vision because it's not quite in that blind range.
Right.
But it's not good enough to be able to function at a quote-unquote normal level. Like, I can't drive, but I can still see fairly well. So it's like, I don't know what's going on.
Quick, how many fingers am I holding up?
Do you get that? Do people?
Yep.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. There's some common things that people say, and I've gotten some weird stuff too.
What's the most annoying common thing that people say?
Oh boy.
About art or about vision?
About vision.
Probably.
You're not blind. You just choose to be blind.
That's a joke that one of my friends has been saying a lot.
Choose to be blind?
It's a joke because I'm also LGBT, so they say, like, you choose to be gay, and so they've turned it into, and you choose to be blind too.
Wow.
But I'd say probably one of the most common ones is, can you see that? And then they just point somewhere. Like, can you read that sign and point somewhere? A vague area. And I'm like, no, I don't know what you're pointing at.
If it makes you feel any better, like, I remember getting that regularly as a kid. Being the kid that wears glasses. And like, well, can you read that? And being like, well, my glasses on, so yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Mine was always like, I want to say yes to make you upset and to frustrate you, but instead I have to say no. What are you pointing at?
What you should just start doing is, like, making up something like, oh, it says yield, and they're looking at it like, no, it doesn't. Like, yes, it does. Be completely indignant that, no, I can read it, you're just wrong.
You're the one who can't read.
Right. Or either that or just be like, I can't read at all.
Oh, yeah.
Surprise, I'm blind and illiterate.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, I'm blind.
So, JP, are you currently playing in a band?
Okay, so we're trying. The art school has a music club-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
And since we started it so late, especially in the second semester, not that many people are aware of what's going on, so it's just me.
So you're like a founding member of this music club?
Not really. I'm friends with the founding member, so it's mostly just the three of us and the rest, especially since I have the most, I don't want to say like educated background, but I did like music theory and did all the AP courses and stuff like that.
Instead of just playing around and learning stuff, like everyone in the music club can play really well, but you've got like the actual educational background.
Exactly. Like, so a lot of them learn how to play by ear, or they just kind of like picked it up and
which is common.
Right.
And I also write like song lyrics and stuff. So we just try to organize it together. It's mostly just me and the other two. So we're trying to start our own thing.
That's pretty cool.
I mostly do solo stuff. I've been trying to do covers. Everything's been hectic. I was working on an EP for the last like year or two, and I'm still trying to get back into that. Couple songs that are like almost finished, that kind of thing. So I want to take that to the next level, and maybe like over the summer, but I'm not swamped in work and drawing self-portraits and taking pictures. Trying to get back into that. So I was obsessed. I've only been playing guitar for a year and a half now.
Very good for a year and a half.
Yeah. What kind of music?
Hardcore, punk rock.
Yeah.
I listen to a little bit of everything.
Nice.
I grew up, my mom's Puerto Rican, in the kitchen we were playing her music. My dad grew up on Motown and loves like R&B and rap, and my friends just have their reasons and things.
Some of my favorite stuff is like when they combine genres.
Yeah.
Me too, yeah.
We were just lucky enough to record this band Gangsta Grass that does bluegrass hip hop. I saw.
Oh, I heard they were around.
Yeah, 2 summers ago I saw Mariachi El Bronx. They are a hardcore band called The Bronx that put out either 2 or 3 mariachi albums.
Oh, that's awesome, yeah.
And they're fantastic. So stuff like that I find like really appealing. It just kind of, you take two round pegs and pound them through one square hole and see what comes out.
Right.
And it's always interesting. So I wish you guys the best of luck at Montserrat.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You know, stay in touch so when you guys are rich and famous, we can be like, hey, they were on our podcast one time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And, so thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
No problem.
Of course.
Awesome. Thanks.
Glad we walked by.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
All right, welcome back, Inebri-Art. This is Sandy at the Inebri-Art podcast. I think I would get that right. And we are still here at Beverly Comic Con, and we are here with Brandon Gorski.
Gorski, yeah.
Gorski. I'm terrible with names. So you are a creator here at the Comic Con,
Yep.
and so I saw that you had a book on your table. What is the name of the book, and what's it about?
I have a couple of different books. My more adult-themed book is called Match, City on Fire. It's about a serial arsonist and 2 detectives trying to catch him.
Okay.
And that was a book I worked on as like part of my senior project when I was at MassArt.
Okay.
And then I self-published it in 2016. Nowadays, I'm working on an all-ages book called Legends of Lys because I didn't have anything for children to read, really,
Right,
and I'm trying to do cons that appeal to everybody, so I started working on Legends of Lys as a way to chronicle my adventures in D&D as well. So it kind of plays to both audiences of like things that I've done and experienced, taking characters that I've created and put them in a different scenario and different situations.
Okay.
And that's been really fun. Had a good response from a lot of people from that. So
Awesome.
that's my ongoing book as of right now.
So the first one you were talking about,
Correct.
does it follow the detectives or does it follow the arsonists? Is it kind of a Dexter type thing, or
It's all 3. So you get the point of view of 2 different detectives and then the arsonist himself.
Okay.
So you get to see everything happening all at once. So the reader is privy to information that the detectives necessarily don't have.
Yeah.
Relationships that are forming that the detectives don't know about. And you also get to see the personal lives of these detectives kind of deteriorate and move back and forth. So it's as much a character study on one as all 3.
As all 3?
Yeah.
And you said your current project is based off your D&D play.
Yeah.
Is the other one based off your Pyromania? Or?
No. I mean, I do write the arsonist as more of an artist. Like, he sees what he's doing as works of art.
Okay.
So I sort of took the sympathetic sort of angle with him.
Yeah.
Whereas the detectives you're following are, they're kind of stumbling through the choices that they've made up until this point. And in about a month or so, I'm putting out the sequel to that book.
Oh, nice.
And that one will be called Jury, and I'll be debuting at Free Comic Book Day right here in Salem.
Oh, at Harrison's?
I'll be at Silver Moon Comics in the
I've never
mall.
heard that place. Oh, I have heard of that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this will be my 3rd year at Silver Moon, so I'll be there all day.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, do you write and illustrate the comic?
I do, yeah. I write, illustrate. I kind of have like a basic framework for my writing, and then I keep it real loose so that I can play with, my sequentials.
Yeah.
And then I go in and digitally letter it after the fact. Not so much with Legends. I do everything by hand with Legends.
Yeah. Oh, nice. And so you're getting back to your current one is a takeoff on your D&D play. Which I love. I'm a huge D&D fan.
Yeah, I love it.
We were just talking about on the podcast. I just recorded it. I'm sure I'll talk about D&D again. Do you play or are you a DM?
I've done both.
Yeah.
More recently, I've just been playing. I DM'd for a long time, like at least 9 months with one continuous campaign. Picked up here and there, but I really was driven to get back into the player side of things.
I love playing. I really enjoy DMing, but something about DMing is kind of like trying to write a story where you have no control over anybody.
Yep.
It's the things that you want them to pick up on, they're missing.
Yeah, like
They're focusing on oting.
You're leaving breadcrumbs, and they're just stomping on the breadcrumbs
Yes.
to try to punch a civilian in the face instead.
Or super focusing on something like, this is totally a trap. Well, I want to check it for traps. No, you fail. All right, well, I'm going to check it for traps. And you just want to be like, it's not a trap. There's no trap.
Yeah.
Just go. It's a hallway. Just walk down the hallway.
Just breeze past these boxes, please.
Yeah, just boxes. I didn't even have any inflection when I said boxes.
Yep.
Do you find that sort of thing helps you with your writing?
I would say so. I mean, just from everything that I've, written for campaign up until this point, and then, I kind of like took that and put it in its own little world. So I'm not retreading stories. I'm more or less fleshing out the past, which has been fun for me to like take a character I developed all of this time and show her in her adolescence of growing up to become that character. So I get to build out her entire backstory with this comic.
Do you ever get that experience in a game where someone does something and you're like, that's got to go in. That's got to go in the story. Almost like having someone else kind of like write it. I don't want to say write it for you, but inspire the.
Yeah, there's for sure locations that were inspired by my group, and that's why I give them a credit in the opening of the book, because a lot of the map was developed by all three of us. Locations, cool. Specific characters that I may have pop in and out that are theirs. They created them, they own them, and they are very influential in how I'll depict them as well.
It's interesting. It's like, I would always love to see people's property go on to like become a big thing and have it moved, but I feel like that would be a legal nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Who owns what?
Yeah, exactly.
So how many books of that have you put out?
Today I debuted the 3rd issue. Nice. I've been like on like a bi-monthly release schedule with it. So today will be the 3rd issue.
That's ambitious for
I'm trying.
A solo independent guy. Yeah. I mean, usually you get independent people like, I'm putting out a new issue this year,
Yeah.
But when you do cons, it's important to have new material out, because I mean, if you only put out 1 or 2 books a year and you do 8 cons, by the time you get down to that last convention, and people want to come and talk to you because they appreciate your work.
Yeah.
But then they're not going to buy a book. They're not going to, help spread the word.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of why I timed it to debut number 3 today.
Yeah.
Because this was a big deal. I've been trying to get into this show for a while. This is like my 3rd year of trying to get into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it sells out in like 10 minutes. So I missed it this year too, and then got added on after the fact.
Yep.
So I feel very lucky to be here. It's been a great day.
Yeah.
So
I've been
having a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's always been a lot of fun. I missed last year's. I think I've been at all the other ones. I'm lucky enough to know people, so I can just be like, hey, let me in. But yeah, I'm glad it's working out for you. Do you have plans to do more conventions? Or?
I'm at Plastic City next weekend.
That's in Fitchburg, right?
Yeah. So I'll be there all day. 2 weekends after that's Free Comic Book Day, so I'll be there for that.
Oh man, Free Comic Book Day is coming up quick, isn't it?
And then I'm doing PillCon, which is at the Peabody Institute Library. It's a local small show.
Oh, I never even heard of that.
This is, I think, their 2nd year doing it, so I got added onto that. So I'll be there. I think that's May 21st.
Nice.
And then after that, I'll be at Beverly Arts Fest in June 16th. They shut down Cabot Street.
It's really nice when you have a community that's very pro arts and does things like that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to travel far from home to kind of get started. It's very convenient.
Yeah, this was great.
Well, this was a trip for us, but I mean, it's not far. So if someone wanted to purchase your book, is there a place they can go online to purchase? Do they go to order directly through you?
So, I do have a website. It's just brandongorski.com. There's a link right to...
How do you spell that?
That's Gorski is my last name.
I was pretty close. For some reason, I thought it was Gorski. I did pretty good.
Yeah. I know it's a tough one. So, if you go on there, I have a lot of examples of my work. There's a link right to my Big Cartel store. My Big Cartel store is where I'm selling all my issues right now.
So people can just buy stuff through there?
That's brandongorski.bigcartel.com.
Is there, digital versions available?
I'm going to be putting out some digital PDFs pretty soon at a discounted cost.
Yeah.
But physical copies are on there for now, and then I'll be launching my own web store over the summer. So
nice.
You'll be able to get everything right at my website.
And... So you said there's a sequel book coming out to your first project. I'm sorry, the name of it?
The first project was Match. The sequel is called Jury.
Okay.
And that one will be out. I'll be debuting the first issue of Free Comic Book Day.
Is it kind of the trial of this character? Am I reading too much into the title?
It's not so much a trial of him, of the main character, but just his mentality moving forward after the events of the first book.
Yeah.
Of just kind of taking justice into his own hands in that regard. So you get to kind of just follow him down the rabbit hole a bit. It's definitely the most violent book I've done. So it's pretty dark.
So you're a pyromaniac and into violence.
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. Just as long as none of this is subpoenaed for...
No. just fun. Just all fun.
Well, it's nice to have an outlet, you know? Yeah. So where do your inspiration for your characters come from?
So, I mean, I've always been drawn to write about police and just cops in general. Like, I almost went to police academy in the midst of art school. I almost just up and quit and went to the police academy because I was very, very into The Shield and just romanticizing that show and loving it, and even how horrible it was. So a lot of my inspiration comes from that, and the characters themselves. I mean, I just try to create somebody that can sit in a room and just talk, and then I'll face off characters with each other, and then whoever I'm gravitating towards, I feel like they have a lot to say, then I will move forward with them. When
you're writing with these characters, do you tend to... I love asking this question because there's like two schools. Do you picture like a actor? Do you have an actor in mind as that character, and you kind of write with them in mind?
I picture more close people I know.
Yeah.
Like almost like plucking a trait of their personality and taking that off the rails, and just seeing how far to push that.
So your friend's personality is on steroids, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. I can't wait to see your podcast character. So yeah, it's great. I appreciate you taking the time to come talk to us.
Yeah, thank you for having me up here.
No problem, man. It's always a real favor when someone like leaves their table to come talk to you. So I do appreciate that. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And keep us posted when the next book comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna start listening to this podcast because I am not subscribed yet, but I will. I listen to podcasts a lot.
Oh, great!
Especially when I work. So, and I'm looking for things.
I was gonna invite you back on when your next book is, but once you listen to us, you probably won't want to come back on.
I don't know about that. I'm down. I'm down for podcasting.
Nice.
I like podcasting.
So. When you get close to launching it, we'll do a whole episode and chat about that.
I'm in. Let's
awesome.
do it. Cool.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
All right, welcome back, Inebri-Arts. This is Andy, the Inebri-Art podcast, and I am here with Sandy Belock-Phippen. Did I get that right? Damn, nice. I am horrible with names, so I'm really happy. Who has been listening to me, unfortunately, all day, because her studio is set up right next to us here at Beverly Comic Con. So, Sandy, I'm sorry that I've been droning on all day.
I've enjoyed it.
So, you are obviously a painter and a printmaker, I believe, right?
That's right.
You were just telling me that you had a large painting commission that got installed. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it was a commission by Care Dimensions, which is a hospice facility in Danvers. They've opened up a new facility in Lincoln, Waltham border, and they asked me to do a painting for their lobby wall, which was a large wall, and I did an 8 by 3 foot painting.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it's long and thin.
Do all your paintings tend to be large scale like that?
No, I do everything from 2 by 2 inches.
Yeah.
I think the largest I've done so far is 12 feet.
Wow.
So
that's pretty massive.
Versatile.
How do you approach a 2 by 2 inch painting versus a 12 foot? Like, is there a different procedure to it? Do you do more studies?
There's more studies. Like for this commission, I did a small study, like 10 by 24 inches, I think, to scale. And then from there, I did a full-scale study on paper, because as you go to that larger scale, the composition graphically maybe requires some adjustment. You can't just blow something up.
Yeah.
And the medium is also different. Paint spreads differently when you're using like a house painting brush as opposed to a small sable brush.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And but they're really fun. It's very exciting, and you just need a lot of space to be able to step back. And sometimes if I can't step back far enough, I'll use a camera, take a digital picture, and then I can look at it on my computer.
Yeah,
I can zoom out of it, and that's been a very effective tool.
Is there a size to a painting that you would not do? I mean, 12? 12 foot's pretty monstrous, I feel.
No, I love doing the big ones because they feel like you're in them.
Yeah.
They feel environmental, and they it's just excites me to do something large.
When you're standing, I mean, when you paint, you got to be within a foot of a 12-foot. It's got to like almost absorb you into the.
Yeah, but you keep moving back and forth.
Yeah.
So it's constant. I should wear a pedometer because I cover a lot of territory when I'm painting.
Your phone doesn't tell you how many steps you take. Mine does all the time.
I try not to have my phone on me all the time. I try to turn those things off when I'm in the studio because it's distracting.
How do you get kind of focused? I heard some music going in there today. Do you always have kind of music playing, or like what gets you focused?
I listen to music, or I listen to books on recorded books.
Or the Inebri-Art podcast?
I didn't. Yeah. Now I will.
Yeah.
Now that will be first on my list. But I can't listen to anything that requires too much attention.
Right.
It has to be something
distracts you from what you're doing.
Yeah. So music is good. But I do have to like kind of putter around the studio probably for the first hour before I start working.
Yeah, just to kind of get
in the zone. Just to get in, and then once I'm there, I can really focus. And
on a day like today where it's been an open studio, I would feel personally like I wouldn't get a lot of work done.
It was. I knew it would be distracting. People coming in asking questions, so I did things that didn't require a lot of mental concentration. I was just laying out a painting, so I can do something more mechanical. Plus, I organized some files and.
What's your background? Where did you get started? How early did you get started in art? Like from a kid?
I started very young. I know it was before I was in kindergarten. I'm not sure what year, but and I continued. I had a lot of encouragement and attended some public art classes that were really good.
Yeah.
I grew up near Pittsburgh in Carnegie Mellon. And the museum had classes for children, so I started doing those when I was about 9.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And that was great.
Were they more kid classes, or were they just?
Well, they were
really
pretty serious.
Yeah.
They were pretty serious, and they started out. It was huge, like 2,000 kids in an auditorium, and there was an assignment. And then you progressed every year. They would eliminate some kids until you were in high school, and it was down to 50 kids.
Oh wow!
And maybe some of it is children lost interest. It wasn't like that competitive, I don't think. I think it was the people persevered, the person who stayed with it. And then in high school, I kind of had a choice to make because I was also very involved with music. I had studied the violin, and I had attended some summer camps in violin. And when I decided at that point my talents laid more in the.
I feel like that's a very common thing. I feel like a lot of visual artists also have some sort of musical interest, or
I still really love music.
Yeah.
And it's still a big part of my life, but I could tell I was not going to be a person playing in an orchestra.
Right. So were your parents supportive this whole time?
Oh yeah, they were very supportive and very encouraging. I was really lucky. They, transport me to all for years.
Right. A lot of parents, we were talking earlier with some people about how if you don't say something like you want to be a graphic designer and you say you want to be a fine artist or painter or something like that, it really concerns a lot of parents. And I understand that the kids take it as, their parents don't understand or whatever, but being a parent, I'm a little different because I understand the art field, but a lot of parents are just concerned about the kid's future. Do you feel that is a necessary concern?
No, I think in today's world, it's important to make your kids know that it's difficult. You need to think about earning money, how you're going to make a living. I think when I was growing up, long enough ago, that I don't think my parents worried so much about that. I think they probably thought I would go into teaching at some point, and I think I probably assumed I would do that also. But life sort of took a different direction.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, but I just don't think there was the same kind of pressure. I think people assumed if you had a bright kid, they would be fine.
They would somehow be okay.
They would be okay. Yeah. It's a lot more pressure now. I have kids, and I also want to make sure they understand they have to be thinking about the future.
Yeah. How old are they?
The youngest is 24 and the oldest is 36.
So are they following your footsteps in a creative field, or?
I think I think they're all very talented, but none of them are going into art. One is teaching, one is in retail, another one's in the computer business somehow, and another one was in the Marines for 7 years, and now he's done with that.
That's right. We were just talking about that.
Yeah. So he's who knows?
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about that, we were discussing how my nephew got out. I said just got out, and then I really thought about it. It wasn't just. But they do a fair amount to help them. He's going back to school with the help of the Marines. And I think he's leaning towards architecture, I think is what he wants to do.
That's great.
So it is nice that they have those options, but
yeah.
It's that fine line telling your kids that, they can be whatever they want, but just try not to be something that causes me stress to make me worry about you kind of thing.
That's part and parcel of being a parent. I don't think that part you can't ever avoid. But I don't know, you just have to have a lot of faith in your kids and help them when you can.
Yeah. Well, I just make them my interns. But I want to thank you for taking the time. I hope. How was Beverly Comic Con for you as an open studio event?
Oh, it's a different crowd of people. Yeah. It's fun. I like seeing the costumes and people seem genuinely interested. Lots of kids.
Yeah.
And I always think that's good. And the kids have great questions. They ask technical questions about painting, which is. I think it's great, know.
We had an event in December, and there was an artist there, Chris Mindel, who was painting, and he would put the brush in the kid's hand. Go ahead, add to the painting. He's
great.
He's like, I can take the paint right off. He's like, it's not a problem.
I think it's really important now for kids and adults to do things with their hands too.
Yeah.
We're so consumed by electronics, and it's so easy to just be absorbed into that. But there things happen when you hold a brush or you hold a pencil. It releases a different part of your creative self, and I think. I encourage people to do that. I hope someday we have a makers conference here. People doing
so
hands-on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you heard of? I just found out about him not too long ago. I think it's called the Artist Asylum. I think it's in Somerville. I'd have to Google it, but it is a maker space where they have not really studios, almost cubicles for more storage. And then there are different shops, there's a welding shop, and there's a jewelry making shop, and they'll organize classes so you can go one day and learn welding basics, but then you can have access to the welding space later, and so you can really manufacture stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
It
that's
really interesting. So
really
it's on my
interesting.
short list of some point I'm going to reach out to them and try and get them on the podcast.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
My kind of people.
It's part of, do you know who Adam Savage is? He was a Mythbuster on the Discovery Channel, and he's since left them. He now works with a YouTube channel called Tested, and he went on tour around the country and visited different makers' spaces. And that's how I found out about it. It was a YouTube video where he took a tour of the space and found out what they were about. And it was really fascinating.
I will open my laptop and look for that.
Yeah,
in spite of my
It's nice
leaning
to
culturally.
It's nice to unplug, but they are useful.
Yes, they are. Now there's a balance that we can reach in our lives.
We can try to reach.
Yeah. Well, it's great to talk to you, Andy. Thank you very much.
You giving us the time, and it was great to be your neighbor for the day.
Great.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you. All right, welcome back, Inebri-Arts. This is Andy, the Inebri-Art podcast, and we are still here at Beverly Comic Con, recording with yet another creative type, and we are here with Tara White. Tara, what is it that you do?
So I create a lot of digital illustrations and then also mixed media art pieces, and it's kind of just, I call it weird art. Some of it's kind of pop art, and it's just things from my head that I'm just feeling. And
does it have a Comic-Con feel, or like, are you?
So I think because there's a lot of bright colors and just like unique characters, and some of them are creatures that. So I don't have anything that's specifically like comic book.
So not like Spider-Man, Batman, but just
not currently. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're all original designs, not based on any existing works.
And is this your first venture into the world of Comic-Con?
Yes, it is.
Are you a local, like from Beverly?
I am from Beverly. I actually went to Montserrat before switching into a biology major. So returning to art.
That's an interesting maneuver.
I know.
So are you a biologist now?
I am in biotech currently.
And how does art and biotech, like, what does the Venn diagram of that look like? Where does the overlap?
Well, for me, it started, I was a research associate in a group that primarily worked with microscopes, and we would use dyes and look at different proteins and cells, and we would actually take images of those, and there would be these amazing bright color images of cells and tissues to show off the products, and we would use them on the website and stuff.
Yeah. Well, because back in the day, I would assume that scientists would draw to what they see.
Yeah.
Was that something that you had to do, or with the technology now, does just all automatically become pictures? Or do you have to still draw?
No, there was definitely no drawing, but there were definitely someone with a creative eye could come out with like a better image than someone without, I think.
Well, yeah, because you know a little bit more about composition and color theory and those kind of things.
Yeah.
I mean, can you talk about, like, are you cloning someone? Like,
so the company creates or generates antibodies that are used in research to develop drugs against like cancer and different treatments.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
that's fairly. I have a friend that maybe about a year ago graduated in a biology field, and we give her a really hard time because all she does is kill fish.
Oh yeah,
because she tests like chemicals and their effectiveness on
no,
marine
nothing
life.
like that.
But so you went. How far did you go with Montserrat? Did you?
I
only
only
like the freshman and out thing?
completed the foundation program. Yeah,
nice. Me too. Up top.
It was a sad. I mean, it was something that I really at the time felt like I needed to change, and then. But now I'm back. Getting more back into art, and I'm also have transitioned into the marketing department at the same company, but different.
Oh, that's
different
cool.
type of work. So.
It's just interesting hearing someone be creative in biotech and then marketing in biotech.
Right.
Is another strange thing. I work in marketing myself, but I sell stainless steel, marine, and industrial parts.
Oh, wow.
So it's like if you get excited about
Yeah.
cat eyes and turnbuckles, it's hard to get people who are not already buying such things to take interest.
Right.
So you have these digital things, and I'm trying to remember. I did make the lap around. Was it like pins and or were there prints?
So this time I have prints of some of my digital work. also made some greeting cards, pins, stickers,
Yeah.
just kind of general merchandise to see what the feel was.
Yeah, and what was the big winner this week? Was there like one thing that really took off? Or?
The buttons were definitely popular. A couple of greeting cards too. So I had a lot of like comments, more comments, and people taking business cards.
Yeah,
and
don't
a
let that
couple
get to you, because
purchases.
I know a lot of people, especially when you go to the bigger cons, get really jaded because people be like, "Oh, I love this," and then be like, "If you love it, why don't you buy it?" And
Yeah.
because everyone's got a paycheck and they have to spread it out everywhere,
Right.
you know. So that sort of thing happens. And you're the floor below us. So how was there decent traffic?
We had really good traffic today. Yeah,
I felt it was a little slow in the beginning, but it's definitely picked up.
we're right
for
near
us.
the elevator, and people keep getting kind of stuck in that corner because the elevator's really slow. So that's helped.
Oh, that's good. So yeah, so they're just hanging out, looking at your stuff. See,
Right.
like here, the elevator opens and it's behind a door, so I feel like they're like, "Oh, we don't belong here." And so this was your first time. Are you going to try to come back next year?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon, who is kind of kitty corner from you guys, was saying this is his third year trying to get in, and finally was able to get into
Oh
this.
wow. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's preferential treatment to people who have been here before, but
Interesting.
I know the tables sell out super fast.
Yep. Yeah, we missed the first one and happened to get the extra ones that they
That they opened
put
up.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. So what's next for? Sorry, is it Macabre Creations?
Macabre Creations. I would like to do more like physical mixed media pieces.
Yeah.
Maybe some smaller things that I can have at a better price point for things like this. Maybe, probably comic themed.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's a real, like, thin. What's the phrase I'm looking for? It's a hard line to walk.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously paying for your table. You're spending your day. You want to walk away with some money in your pocket.
Yeah.
But at the same point is like you don't want to just sit there and crank out Spider-Mans all day.
No,
you
I
know,
know.
it's trust me. I for a long time was known as the Peanuts guy because I happened to do a Charlie Brown drawing as a joke. And then someone's like, "Oh, you should do Charlie Brown's this. You should do Charlie Brown's that." And then it became like more and more of my table.
Oh, really?
Became Charlie Brown as something else. And then people would become up. They'd be like, "Oh, you must love the Peanuts." And I'd be like, "No, I really,
hate it so
I
much
don't
now."
really have any opinion one way or the other." And yeah, so I actually kind of stopped getting tables at cons for maybe like the past year and a half. I've only done a couple. Because I just haven't done anything new, and I don't really want to keep doing
Yeah.
that. So it's tough because you want to sell stuff, so you're not wasting your time, but you want to do your own thing,
Right.
And that's the trick. I don't really have any advice, but that's the trick.
Well, thank you.
Are you planning on doing other conventions anytime soon?
I hadn't looked into anything. We heard about an anime one today that somebody was bringing flyers around, said they were looking for vendors, so it's possible.
Yeah. I feel like you would do well at an anime convention. I feel like they are more. I mean, they like their licensed property things, but I feel like
Right.
they're more open to, oh, it's cute,
Yeah.
or it's pretty, or whatever. You know, so I feel like, generally speaking, that might be a good move.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to think about it.
Yeah. And so, are you going to take your creativity and somehow engineer pretty drugs?
I don't know if I know how to answer that question.
I don't know. I asked it, and I'm like, it's kind of a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. So where do you find your inspiration for your drawings?
A lot of them are from, so for my mixed media stuff, I think a lot of it is from like emotions, but also nature. And I try to use a lot of just found objects and recycle things, not only because it saves money, but because I kills me to buy like new materials that I'm just gonna be like manipulating and.
Yeah. So you try to use like recycled papers or just like anything?
I mean, like, I have one downstairs. I have this big, weird shaped piece of found wood, and there's all these just like pieces of just any kind of stuff, like old greeting cards, like.
Oh, that's interesting.
Just anything that's laying around, I can find a use for. Oh,
that's cool.
So.
Do you intend to like hang your stuff in a gallery or? Like...
So I have put some, interests out to a couple places. I'm waiting to hear back from one. I sold a bunch of pieces recently to a newer smoke shop in Gloucester, Mass.
Oh, cool.
So I currently
for decoration or for resale?
They wanted them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they originally it was going to be for resale, and they were like, "No, we just want these."
Yeah.
So that was awesome. So now I don't have like a large collection, which is fine by me. So I just need to get some more stuff.
Yeah, it's nice to move through some stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a vape store near us, and driving by one day, I realized one whole wall is all artwork.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I'm gonna go check in because we hang art for local businesses too. And so I stopped in, and it was the owner's collection. But then just like being in there, I'm like, this can't be good for the artwork. There's so many people in it that the temperature change, the window is always like that kind of like just got out of the shower kind of water on the window, and I'm like, it can't be good for the artwork hanging here.
Man.
But no, I'm glad that you're making some cool art.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking to us. You're the first biotech artist we've had.
Well, that's awesome.
Probably the only
Maybe I
biotech
should make
artist.
that as my new title.
Yeah, I feel like that's. I feel like even if you just call all your stuff biotech art.
I have changed the names and the how I'm like classifying everything several times because I don't know what to call anything. So.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad you talked to us, and even more happy that you had a good show.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll see you here again next year.
Yeah, I hope so.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Don't forget to check out our other podcasts. There's the Bar Talk podcast. There's Old Colony Cast. And, of course, the Inebri-Art podcast along with Jam Packed. You can find all those on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. If you're on some sort of service and you can't find it, let us know, and we'll help you out or add our podcast to that, too. You can contact us at Inebri-Art@yahoo.com and follow us on Facebook as well as Twitter at Inebri-Art. And feel free to send us some tips, ideas, advice, hate mail, whatever it is, you can get us there. And again, thanks for listening.